Ask Anthony exclusive. I drove to Waycross last week to help a family desperately searching for answers. Joseph Manning was 15 years old when he was seriously injured at a New Year's Eve party. But how that happened and who is responsible is a topic of debate in his small Georgia town. Joseph Manning is your typical country boy. He loves football, riding dirt bikes, and hunting.
He is my heart. He's the reason my heart beats.
And to his mother, Tatum Thrift Walker.
But in my mind, he's still that 15-year-old boy that was riding the dirt bike, you know, going hunting with my husband. But now, he is dependent on us. Let's just say that.
5 years ago, he snuck out of his parents' home and went to a New Year's Eve party down the street.
I mean, it's probably a mile from here, literally a mile. And we had no idea he snuck out.
At that Tonight, an Ask Anthony exclusive. I drove to Waycross last week to help a family desperately searching for answers. Joseph Manning was 15 years old when he was seriously injured at a New Year's Eve party. But how that happened and who is responsible is a topic of debate in his small Georgia town. Joseph Manning is your typical country boy. He loves football, riding dirt bikes, and hunting.
He is my heart. He's the reason my heart beats.
And to his mother, Tatum Thrift Walker.
But in my mind, he's still that 15-year-old boy that was riding the dirt bike, you know, going hunting with my husband. But now, he is dependent on us. Let's just say that.
5 years ago, he snuck out of his parents' home and went to a New Year's Eve party down the street.
I mean, it's probably a mile from here, literally a mile. And we had no idea he snuck out.
At that party, something happened that would change this family's life forever.
Tell Mr. Anthony, who is your favorite Florida Gator of all time?
Tim Tebow? That teenage boy who loved riding dirt bikes and playing sports is now blind and in a wheelchair.
In one instant, our world was turned upside down.
According to witnesses at the party, Joseph fell off the top of a two-story barn around midnight on January 1st of 2019. But no one called for help until around 2 p.m., almost 14 hours later.
He was laying at the bottom of the barn on an old, dirty twin mattress. They all sat there and was watching my son die. Changed his clothes, moved him, and still hadn't called 911.
I requested the police report from the Ware County Sheriff's Office. In the report, it says everyone attending the party at the barn was drinking and playing beer pong. Witnesses say Joseph arrived at the party and, quote, seemed drunk and passed out on an air mattress in the hayloft at 11:30 p.m. at the very top of the barn. Witnesses say they found him lying motionless on the ground at the bottom of the barn about 30 minutes later.
What's most difficult about the entire incident, regardless of your idea or your opinion as far as what happened, is that Joseph was 15 years old.
Jason Sechrist is a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. He was the supervisor on the case.
We interviewed everybody that was at the party, and the stories were relatively consistent.
But that's where this story takes a turn, and this mother disagrees.
It's been the worst investigation I have ever seen.
Walker doesn't believe her son fell out of the barn, nor does she believe those witnesses were telling the truth to investigators.
Kids had come forward to us and told us that he was hit in the head with a shovel. Well, that made sense to me. Kids that were down there. But when they would get to go talk to the GBI, they wouldn't say nothing. They were scared.
According to Walker, another boy was jealous that Joseph was talking to his girlfriend and purposely beat him at the party, and she knows who he is.
Not trying to be mean, but he was somebody I wouldn't allow my son to hang around with. He was a troublemaker.
One arrest was made in this case. Ginger Oxford, the mother of one of the teenagers who was throwing the party, was charged with cruelty to children for failing to seek medical attention for Joseph. A trial was held last year where she pleaded guilty. She's currently serving time in prison and won't be released until 2026.
In the middle of court, all of a sudden, the GBI is talking. He's giving his testimony about what happened. Joseph goes, "That's a lie." And I mean, the whole courtroom got silent. He grabs my hand and he starts squeezing it. He looks at me and he goes, "Mom, I want to talk now."
Joseph told investigators he was actually hit in the head with a pistol by that boy that Walker mentioned.
And we took some time and tried to hear Joseph and what he had to say. He did provide a statement. He could not remember everything.
Since 2019, Joseph has spent years trying to recover from his injuries in and out of hospitals, and during that time, his family has been on the sidelines fighting for him.
I won't rest until something is done because it's not right, and they all think they got away with it. Well, number one, they didn't get away with it with God, because God knows what happened.
And the Georgia Bureau of Investigation considers this a closed case, but Sechrest says they will consider any new credible information that is provided to them. He says investigators looked at medical records and spoke with numerous witnesses, and they stand by their conclusion that Joseph fell from the barn and there was no foul play. But as you heard in the story, Walker disagrees and believes there are more witnesses out there who haven't spoken to the GBI about what happened. Remember, you can always email me at AskAnthony@firstcoastnews.com.